get into it. And this week, we decided not to do a fun little segment. We decided to cover an awards show. An awards, not show, but an award giver awayer that people think, I think other than the PWI, people worship, people love. It is Dave Meltzer. If you guys don't know, he is the clown of wrestling media. Some of you might like him and enjoy him, but he just was called out for being a fraud. He is the man who kind of
sued for
being
something.
sued for getting in for
literally
being someone rigged it, gave him false information that he then took, promoted it as his own as factual, and then the people countered and said, no, that was a lie, made up. You have you did no backing, no factual. He's what we call the National Enquirer of wrestling. But he has an award show. You remember the National Enquirer where you're reading it and you know it's fake. But he has an awards. It's the Wrestling Observer Awards. That's what he does. He's a wrestling observer. And basically how this works is that you take fan votes and the fan will vote on a bunch of random awards. We're not going to go through all of them. Yes, fan awards. They are obviously, if you were Dave Meltzer, they claim is not on the AEW payroll. I'm almost 100% sure he is. He loves him and Brian Alvarez. I think Brian Alvarez is also on the Wrestling Observer. They both praise AEW. They only talk about AEW. Dave Meltzer is known for constantly crapping on WWE all the time. So once again, it's like kind of like CNN and Fox News, right? Like you're going to listen to it and believe that network on which side you're on, right? I feel like that's what the Wrestling Observer is. So if you love AEW and you hate the WWE, you probably listen to the Wrestling Observer and you watch it and you buy into Dave Meltzer, thus making me know that the awards are not valid because they're one-sided people, right? I mean, if you took a poll on CNN and made it all about Republican stuff, like who's better, like Biden or Trump, or what results you're going to get. So it's the same thing as this, right? If you're going to ask me who's better, Moxley or Roman, you know who we're going to get. So I just want to say, though, is that why call it the Wrestling Observer Awards when you know it's just going to be called the AEW New Japan Wrestling Awards? That's the only thing I'm mad at because they'll make it a thing, but I want to get into it. So we'll go through a few of these ones. So we'll start off pretty like, I think, Switzerland, okay? He has the Lou Thighs Ric Flair Award, which is the MVP of the year. The winner was Jon Moxley. He won by about 900 votes. He defeated Roman Reigns, who was number 2, Will Ospreay, who was number 3, Okada, who was number 4, and someone I've never heard of, Sayuri. They're all over this award at number 5, someone from New Japan or somewhere in Japan. So that was the top 5 MVPs on here. Somebody that we didn't see on here was, MJF wasn't in the top 5. Sami Zayn wasn't in the top 5. The Acclaim wasn't in the top 5. I mean, that's even AEW. There was the Usos weren't in the top 5, and we'll get into the Usos again. But Jon Moxley defeating Roman Reigns. Boys, you call that fair and squarely? You don't think that's a collusion? You think Moxley deserves it? Or is it like it's so close it doesn't really matter? I mean, what say you guys?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with this one. I think if it was for Superstar of the Year or something along those lines, then I would say Roman Reigns, hands down, because he's held both belts for almost over 2 years. And I think he just, but when it comes to wrestling, Jon Moxley, he wrestled a lot more than Roman Reigns. He had some okay matches. He carried AEW through some dark times when they were bitten by the injury bug, and then the brawl out, fallout from All Out, all that stuff. He carried them through that.
Yes.
So I don't have a problem with this. My biggest problem with it is the rest of the everybody below the top 5. You have Chris Jericho at number 6, MJF at number 7, CM Punk at number 8, and then Bryan Danielson at number 10. And that's where I have issues with it, because you could have easily put Kevin Owens, could have put Sami Zayn, you could have put the Usos, you could have put Gunther, who's had
yes, thank you.
You could have put I don't know if this is only for a male category, but you could have put like Bianca Belair in there.
Yep.
You could have put anybody. But yeah, you chose CM Punk, who had 2 world championship reigns in AEW that lasted shorter than this podcast has lasted. And Chris Jericho hasn't really done much. Bryan Danielson hasn't done much. It just, that's where I had the issue.
Yeah.
Will Ospreay in the top 3. That was, but I'm okay with the winner being Jon Moxley.
Okay. B-roll.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily that Jon Moxley won. Kind of like what Shooting Star said. It's kind of like where it gets low. Like as you get to the lower ones, it's kind of like why the heck was Seth freaking Rollins not on this list?
Yeah, there's another one.
I mean, to me, like when we did our like little award show thing for like our show, like Seth Rollins was my MVP because of, and it was mainly because of the stories he was involved with. I mean, the work he did and the amount of people he was able to put over is why I picked him as the MVP. I mean, but like, I don't know. Maybe Meltzer gets off to Jon Moxley bleeding. I don't know.
I think he does. I think he does. And
hey,
yeah,
personal prediction, real quick. So Moxley's going to have the Texas Death Match. My personal recommendation: he should not bleed in that match because it's a match that he should bleed in.
There you go. I like that. Yeah,
that dude is gonna blade every part of his body. He's gonna be like slice, dice. But I think it would be hilarious if he didn't. I think that would be. How much I love the blood. Now I just want to kind of run through them because there's a lot of them. But the whole point of this segment is just so the atrocity of Dave Meltzer and this award, which is pretty much the biggest award in wrestling, I believe. Most outstanding wrestler. So I'm assuming this is like pure wrestler. We got Will Ospreay, Bryan Danielson, Okada, Mike Bailey, Jon Moxley, Dax Harwood, Gunther at 7. Out of all of WWE, we only have one guy in the top 10 of best wrestler because nobody can wrestle in the WWE. We have Tag Team of the Year. This is one that really bothered me. We have FTR winning. Okay, I love FTR. I think they had a big year. But we got the Briscoes at 2, the Young Bucks at 3. We have the Usos at 4 and the Acclaimed at 5. I think that is a travesty. If you are going to, once again, the Bloodline segment is just getting completely like the Usos did nothing this year compared to FTR. And the Acclaimed and FTR are in the same damn organization. And I think the Acclaimed had a way bigger year overall with everything, with being the most over. Weird to me. Best on interviews, MJF. I mean, so be it. But number 2, Jon Moxley. Get out of my face with that. Promotion of the year. You guys ready for this? Promotion of the year. AEW, Stardom, World Wrestling Entertainment at number 3, New Japan Wrestling, and then the UFC for some reason. You are going to tell me AEW, Mr. B-Roll, has been around for 4 years now, right? Is this their 4th year? This is by far their worst year. So you were going to tell me that AEW's worst year out of their 4 years, even during COVID times, they had better years of overall AEW events like Dynamites, the Push, the Champ, like everything they had, because they had a pretty bad with CM Punk, with Moxley having to go around, with MJF's title reign not being great. You're going to tell me they did better than WWE having the best storyline in wrestling history? Stardom was better? Get out of my face. Best weekly TV show. We have Dynamite, we have SmackDown, Rampage, New Japan Strong, Impact Wrestling, We Are Stardom, and then WWE Raw and NXT to close out the top 8. We have Pro Wrestling Match of the Year, Okada and Will Ospreay. Okay, I get that. People really, really love that match. FTR and the Briscoes. We have Gunther and Sheamus and Cody and Seth being the only WWE matches. And a year of WWE matches pretty damn, like, what about KO and Stone Cold? What about, like, once again, we're not talking about story here, are we? What about Brock versus Roman?
Seth versus Roman. Royal
Seth
Rumble.
Versus Roman. Yeah. Let me, sorry, and I'll let you guys talk
Seth
on all of it.
Versus Cody, Hell in a Cell.
Like, right. They did do box office draw. Number 1 was Roman Reigns, but you can't really, pick against that. Feud of the year, right? You maybe some Bloodline people. Nah. FTR versus the Briscoes, Punk versus MJF. They did have Cody versus Rollins, so that was good. But Bloodline versus Kevin Owens was number 6, so I guess that was kind of a thing, but not like Sammy in the Bloodline or the Sammy and Roman intensity. That happened all last year. Nothing of the sort. The most improved, which I did think was kind of funny, was the Acclaimed. I actually don't think the Acclaim was the most improved because I think they were great last year and they were great this year. I don't think they improved much. How you don't have somebody like Dominic Mysterio, Rhea Ripley, or I just Sami Zayn on there because Sami Zayn did hella approve. They're not even. I don't think any of them are even. Oh, Dom's number 5, but the other ones aren't even on there. And then there's one more I really want.
Chris Jericho's on that list too.
Chris Jericho, yeah, because because he's been improving so much. There was the one most overrated is what I wanted to bring up. So we have Ronda and Tyrus at 1 and 2. Okay. Most overrated. I don't think people know what overrated is because you have to be rated highly and respected to be overrated. Ronda Rousey, nobody even likes. How is she the most overrated? But to have Reigns at number 3 is bonkers to me. The most overrated, the dude who's having the best storyline and the best championship reign and the best organization of all time is literally the most overrated wrestler. We had Mandy Rose at 9. They did put Jade Cargill on there, but to have Bray Wyatt at number 6, and once again, where are people from AEW? No one from AEW is overrated. Nobody, I guess not. Because
I mean, this list is these lists. I'm looking at some of the other ones, like worst television announcer. How did Booker T not win that in a landslide?
Mm-hmm.
And Corey Graves won that.
Well, because people hate him. But the best announcers, they had Kevin Connolly, and then they had Excalibur. I don't even think
picture.
Yeah, I think Taz is better than Excalibur, to be honest with you. And how do you not have Michael Cole? Michael Cole's number 8. Michael Cole has had the best year of his life. Well, Pat McAfee was ranked higher, but and Wade Barrett, where the hell was Wade Barrett? Dude killed it last year on NXT and when he turned it over to Raw. So once again, it's just so AEW colluded. What else are you guys picturing here as seeing before we close up shop? Because I just wanted to make sure everybody knew about this hot mess of the Wrestling Observer.
Best major show was Forbidden Door, AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Where's Mania Night 1?
Number 2 is AEW Revolution from last March.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 is WrestleMania Night 1.
Number 3, I'm sorry to break it to you, WrestleMania Night 1 last year might be the best WrestleMania ever. That Night 1, do you guys not remember it? That's Austin and KO. That's Cody Rhodes' return. Night 1 was stacked.
Yeah. Number 4 on that was Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix Finals. Don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
And then number 5 was Clash at the Castle, Double or Nothing in May. Yeah, and then Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
So
And top promoter was Tony Khan, by the way. So you're an AEW fan. You think Tony Khan was a better promoter than Triple H?
So it to me it's a lot of what have you done for me lately?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely some where it's like, okay, like you definitely you could like the tag team one. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm okay with the Young Bucks. I won't say I like them. I'm okay with them. But your top 3 has to include it is FTR, Briscoes, Usos in some way, shape, or form. That is your top 3.
The Acclaimed.
If you want to put the Acclaimed in there because of the year they had, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But it should be all 4 of those are coming before the Young Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be interested to know what in the heck the categories of what qualifies them for. I don't think there are
the nomination. No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Is what I think. You said one that included Mike Bailey, and that kind of did my heart good because I'm a huge Mike Bailey fan.
Okay.
From Impact because he is. I mean,
he is phenomenal. Wrestler of the Year, I think it was.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't you say Ospreay won that?
Yeah, Ospreay. Yeah, Wrestler of the Year. Yeah.
I'm not necessarily mad at that because I'm a huge Will Ospreay mark.
No, and I don't think Ospreay winning. I think the atrociousness was that only Gunther was on there at a WWE when there's people like Seth Rollins and Chad Gable and Roman in the ring. I mean, you're gonna say he still tells better stories, and there's just so many. I mean, Cody had a pretty good run. He wasn't there the whole time, but I mean, wrestling.
And I mean, this year was the tale of two tales.
Mm-hmm.
AEW started really hot,
and
teetered out.
Yeah.
WWE started really slow, and like basically, like,
yeah.
But
after Mania, it peaked, and Mania was March. So I mean, I think once Cody came back and everything,
once Vince left,
and then Vince left, that was all. Remember, we're only in February. We're March 1st, so it's not like this whole year has just been everything good at WWE. That was last year. You know what I mean? So, all right. Any closing remarks, Shooting Star? Because
my favorite, one of my favorite categories on here is worst major show of the year, and they put WWE Royal Rumble from last year as number 1. Elimination Chamber was number 2. GCW The World was number 3. Number 4 was JCP Ric Flair's Last Match.
Makes sense.
NWA Hard Times was number 5. Crown Jewel was number 6. WrestleMania Night 2 was number 7.
Can you believe that? Yeah.
Halloween Havoc from NXT was number 8. And Extreme Rules was number 10.
How many AEW events were on there?
Number 9 was AEW All Out in Chicago, the one with CM Punk,
which was actually a good card until the after effect, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the card itself was bad.
Yeah.
So,
but and then Extreme Rules.
Except for the Acclaim not winning.
Oh, you're right.
I was there, and the crowd was ready.
You're right. That was with Keith Lee and yeah. What were you going to say, Shooting Star? Was your last one?
Yeah, I was just going to say that it was baffling to me that what we thought were some of the best WWE shows of the year, they put as their worst shows of the year. Like Extreme Rules. I didn't think Extreme Rules was that great. I think the most memorable thing from that pay-per-view was Bray Wyatt coming back and the whole White Rabbit reveal. But I feel like that was still better than it was one of the most entertaining shows of the year for sure. And
I agree.
Yeah, and it's number 10 on their list. Like I don't know.
Just shows Dave Meltzer's a mark, and he's not a real media person, y'all. Don't trust him. He's a National Enquirer.
Can't spell Meltzer without TMZ.
Ooh, I like it.
Look at that.
Pretty good. That was pretty good.
I just thought of that. Yeah.
Nice.
Put that on a t-shirt.